I'm deep diving into the world of animals and mental health to find out what the real difference is between emotional support and psychiatric service animals. Many people think they're all the same, but there's a surprising difference that could really impact your mental health and well-being. We all love our dogs, but some dogs do more than just offer companionship. They provide important support and sometimes life-saving assistance. I'm going to break down the key differences between these two categories, exploring the legal differences and specific tasks psychiatric service dogs are trained to perform, and how to determine which designation best fits your situation. I'll also touch on some common misconceptions and explain why understanding these differences is so important for both the handlers and the public. Okay, now let's talk about dogs. Specifically, dogs that help us, dogs that comfort us, dogs that, well, let's be honest, sometimes feel like the only sane beings in our crazy world. We hear a lot about emotional support animals and psychiatric service dogs these days, and sometimes the difference can feel a little fuzzy. Like, is my dog just a really good friend, or is he actually an emotional support animal? Or how can I make my dog a service dog? And what about those service dogs you see everywhere? Are they all the same? It's a valid question, and one that's important to understand because these distinctions have real-world implications. See, we love our dogs. They're family. But the law, well, it sees things a little differently, and that's where the confusion often starts. We use these terms interchangeably sometimes without realizing they represent very different legal categories. So let's try to clear things up a bit. Imagine this. You're having a really bad day, even a bad month. Your anxiety is through the roof. You're having panic attacks, and just the thought of leaving your house makes your heart race. Your dog, bless his furry little heart, is your constant companion. He snuggles you, he listens without judgment, and he gets it. He makes you feel safe. That comfort, that unconditional love is invaluable. In many cases, this is where the term emotional support animal comes into play. They provide comfort simply by being there. Their presence can alleviate symptoms of a person's emotional or mental health challenges. They're like a furry little security blanket. Now, a psychiatric service dog is a different animal altogether, so to speak. They're not just there for cuddles, although they certainly can do that too. These dogs are highly trained to perform specific tasks directly related to their handler's mental disability. Think of it this way. An emotional support animal provides comfort through its presence, while a psychiatric service dog does things. They take action. They're like a canine therapist who can also fetch your medication. The difference is crucial because it affects where these animals are allowed to go. Emotional support animals have some protection, especially when it comes to housing. Landlords generally can't discriminate against someone with a documented need for an emotional support animal or ESA. However, they don't have the same public access rights as service dogs. You can't take your ESA into a restaurant or a movie theater, for example. Psychiatric service dogs, on the other hand, are considered service animals under the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA. That means that they have the right to accompany their handlers virtually anywhere the public goes. That's because they're not just pets, they're working animals performing essential tasks. But here's the thing. The world of psychiatric service dogs is often misunderstood. Many people have misconceptions about what these dogs do and how they help. And that misunderstanding can lead to some real problems for handlers who rely on these incredible animals. In the rest of this video, I'm going to delve deeper into the specific tasks that psychiatric service dogs can be trained to perform, some of which might surprise you. I'll also explore the challenges these handlers face and how we can all be more informed and respectful. So stick around. You might just be surprised by what you discover. Now, how do you figure out which category your dog falls into? Let's start with a few questions. Do you have a diagnosed mental health condition? If not, your dog is just a beloved pet. If you do, then answer the next question. Has a licensed mental health professional determined that your dog's presence alleviates some of the symptoms of your condition? If not, your dog is probably just a pet. If they've said that your dog helps alleviate your symptoms, then answer the next question. Has your dog been specifically trained to perform tasks that alleviate your mental disability? If not, your dog could be an emotional support animal. See my video on how to get your dog certified as an emotional support animal, linked at the end of this video. If your dog does perform such tasks, your dog is a psychiatric service dog, depending on what task he performs. See, it's not quite as fuzzy as it seems. It all boils down to training and task. Emotional support animals provide comfort. Psychiatric service dogs perform specific trained tasks. Now, what kind of tasks are we talking about? This is where it gets really interesting. Psychiatric service dogs can be trained to do a wide range of things, including deep pressure therapy, which is applying gentle pressure to calm anxiety or prevent meltdowns. They can retrieve medicine for you. Fetching medication during episodes of incapacitation is a qualifying task. Some dogs perform grounding tasks, helping the handler to stay in the present and oriented during disassociation or flashbacks. Many can interrupt self-harming behaviors by physically interrupting or distracting the handler from self-harm. Alerting to panic attacks is another task. Some task-trained dogs can recognize the signs of an impending panic attack and alert the handler. Room clearing is an amazing task. This is where the service dog checks a room for potential triggers before the handler enters. Retrieving a phone is another task. Many service dogs are trained to fetch a phone so the handler can call for help. Another valuable task can be guiding the handler during episodes of disorientation, helping her navigate if she becomes disoriented and confused. Providing a safe space is a task. Service dogs can be trained to position themselves in a way that creates a barrier between the handler and other people. Here's a surprising one: waking their handlers from nightmares. Once trained, service dogs can gently wake their handlers from disturbing nightmares. This list doesn't include all psychiatric tasks. They can vary as much as the people who need them. The key is that these tasks must be directly related to the handler's diagnosed mental disability and must be something that the dog has been specifically trained to do. Tasks that every dog can do, like coming when called or providing hugs, is not a qualifying task. It can't be a task like hugging him makes me feel better. The fact that the dog exists and it comforts you, that's not a task. Understanding the difference between emotional support animals and psychiatric service dogs is crucial. It's not just about semantics. It's about respecting the law, ensuring access for those who truly need it, and recognizing the incredible work that these amazing dogs do. It's also about responsible pet ownership and making sure we're not misrepresenting our furry companions. They're our friends, our family, and sometimes our lifelines. And they deserve to be recognized for the unique and important roles that they play in our lives. The confusion surrounding ESAs and psychiatric service animals, PSAs, contributes to a bigger problem: the epidemic of fake service dogs. This not only undermines the legitimacy of real service dogs, but it also puts handlers and the public at risk. The linked video is a must-watch. I'll teach you to identify fake service dogs so you can be part of the solution. Also, take a look at my video about emotional support animals if it applies to you.